Ryan to root for Claressa. I really am. I ain't gonna lie. I got a little bothered when her cousin did an interview. Now, yeah, I allowed the interview because I'm messy. I'm a messy bitch like that. You feel me? I can't help who I am. But I did feel just a little bit sorry for Claressa when her cousin Shalita came on my platform and literally, I said, what are people saying that you dragging her down?
It started with a silence so heavy, so unnatural, that even her closest friends knew something was wrong long before she ever spoke a word. Claressa Shields, undefeated champion, unbreakable warrior, the woman who built her entire image on confidence and certainty, was suddenly nowhere to be found. No posts, no smiles, no motivational captions, just a strange, eerie blackout that sent the internet spiraling into confusion. And then the clip dropped. A grainy, shaky, almost secret recording surfaced online, nothing dramatic, nothing staged, just Claressa sitting alone in a dimly lit room, breathing hard, staring off into the distance like she had seen something she couldn't unsee. Her hands trembled, her jaw clenched. She kept swallowing like she was trying to hold herself together. Fans didn't know what happened yet, but they felt it. Something had broken, something catastrophic. Hours earlier, Tasha K had dropped what she called the most disturbing relationship expose she'd ever touched. And ASON, the internet didn't just react, it exploded. Screenshots, timelines, messages. Claims stacked on top of claims like a tower built to destroy someone's entire emotional foundation. And at the center of it all, a phrase so shocking it sent shockwaves through every platform in minutes. Papoose was allegedly living a double life, and Claressa wasn't the only one. People didn't blink, they didn't breathe, they just refreshed, again and again and again. The double life claim wasn't some random cheating scandal. No, Tasha hinted at something far more calculated, something structured, something that didn't happen by accident. According to her, this wasn't about one woman or two. This was about multiple emotional lanes, each allegedly built for a different purpose, each maintained quietly while Claressa publicly defended love she believed was real. And while the world watched with morbid curiosity, Claressa watched with devastation. Insiders claimed she found out the same way the public did through that viral post. Imagine standing in the middle of your own life, thinking you know the truth, only to watch it unravel in real time alongside millions of strangers. That's the kind of betrayal that doesn't just hurt, it shatters identity. Then the moment happened. In the leaked video, her voice cracked as she whispered something almost inaudible, something fan detectives enhanced and replayed over and over. Why wasn't I enough? That's when the internet broke. Because this wasn't the voice of a champion. This was the voice of someone who had been blindsided, humiliated, and left standing in emotional ashes she never saw coming. But here's the part that made everything feel 10 times darker. Tasha K hinted that the Christmas story, the one Claressa had defended, the one she believed with her whole heart, might have been a complete illusion. And if that part was true, then everything else she had been told could be too. People started asking one question: if the truth is this horrifying already, what else hasn't been revealed yet? And trust me, ASON, what comes next doesn't just deepen the scandal, it detonates it. It didn't begin with the rumors. It didn't begin with the screenshots. It didn't even begin with the Christmas betrayal that the internet can't stop talking about. No, this story began long before anyone realized the ground under Claressa Shields was cracking. And the craziest part, the signs were everywhere, hiding in plain sight, ignored not because she was blind, but because she was in love. And love has a way of turning warning signs into background noise. There was a time when Claressa and Papoose looked untouchable. A time when people praised how supportive he seemed, how confidently he stood beside her, how he hyped her accomplishments like no man ever had. Clips of him cheering for her went viral. Fans wrote comments like, "This is a real man. She finally found someone who understands her grind. Relationship goals right here." But behind those moments of public admiration, there was something else: tiny inconsistencies, little moments that didn't fit, but were easy to wave away because the image looked so perfect. Friends noticed it first, not loudly, not dramatically, just subtle glances, hesitations, questions no one dared to ask her directly. Why didn't he show up for that event? Why did he cancel last minute? Why does he always have some emergency when it matters? Why do their stories never line up perfectly? But Claressa defended him every single time. She was fiercely loyal, fiercely protective, fiercely committed to the idea that she had finally found someone who saw her, not as a fighter, not as a brand, not as a headline, but as a woman deserving of love. She didn't realize she was defending something that wasn't defending her back, and that's where the first cracks began. The timeline was always fuzzy, always shifting, always explained with just enough detail to seem believable, but never enough to feel solid. And when Claressa would question those gaps, sources say he always had the perfect justification. Family obligations, studio time, phone died, didn't sleep well, mixed up the date, stress, nothing ever big enough to raise alarms. But when you look back at it now, after the Tasha K reveal, every excuse feels rehearsed. Everything changed when Claressa's cousin, Shalita, got involved. Her interview went viral instantly, not because she exposed Claressa, but because she looked uncomfortable, torn. Like someone who didn't want to say the truth but couldn't keep holding it inside anymore. Claressa reportedly felt betrayed by that interview, not because Shalita lied, but because she spoke. Because speaking meant acknowledging that something was wrong, and that's the part Claressa wasn't ready to face. Behind the scenes, insiders claim Claressa had already seen things she didn't understand, messages that didn't match. Times that didn't make sense, plans that changed too often, but she chose trust, she chose love, she chose the version of him she believed in, not the version people were whispering about. That's how strong she is. And ironically, that's how vulnerable she became. Then came the holiday season, the moment that would later set everything on fire. Claressa believed Christmas was their day. She talked about it, she planned for it. She imagined the moment they would take that perfect photo, share those matching outfits, post a caption about gratitude, love, and blessings. She was ready, but Christmas came and he wasn't there. She waited, called, texted, nothing, not anger. Not panic, just confusion that slowly transformed into heartbreak. Meanwhile, according to Tasha K, he spent the entire day with Ramai Ma and their daughter. No secrecy, no distance, just family. And that alone shattered the foundation of everything Claressa believed in. Not because she wanted to replace anyone, but because she believed she mattered enough to be included. Instead, she was left alone in a Louis Vuitton store, blowing tens of thousands of dollars not out of joy, but out of emotional abandonment, pain, and a desperate attempt to feel something other than forgotten. And that's when people started whispering the question no one wanted to ask. Was Claressa ever truly part of his life, or just a storyline for when it was convenient? Because while she was posting love, while she was defending him, while she was fighting for the bond she thought they shared, Tasha K alleges he was managing something entirely different behind the curtain. A system, 5 women, 5 roles. 5 emotional lanes designed to never collide. And the most heartbreaking part, Claressa wasn't the secret woman. She wasn't the side woman. She wasn't even the main woman. She was the visible woman, the one whose public presence kept the system looking clean, stable, trustworthy, respectable. That's why when the truth finally reached her, it didn't just hurt. It destroyed something inside her that the whole world is now watching unfold piece by painful piece. And the next part of this story, the moment the scandal truly caught fire, happened the second those alleged screenshots, voice notes, and overlapping timelines hit the internet. Because what she saw on Christmas was heartbreak, but what she saw online was betrayal in HD. What happened next wasn't just scandal, it was impact. The kind of emotional collapse that doesn't happen in a single moment, it happens in layers, each one revealing a new bruise she didn't know she had. Claressa's world didn't explode loudly. It folded inward, because the first leak wasn't even the worst one. The first leak was just the beginning. It started with a message, simple, blurry, and anonymous. A screenshot floating across Twitter with her name attached to a timeline that made absolutely no sense. Fans zoomed in. Screenshot detectives enhanced the photo. Comment sections ignited. Wait, this date overlaps with that trip. How was he with Claressa and posting with someone else at the same time? This doesn't look like an accident. This looks planned. Suddenly, everyone was piecing together a puzzle that Claressa had been too emotionally invested to see clearly. But when the second message leaked, the internet froze. This one was longer, clearer, and louder. A voice note emerged, allegedly Papoose's voice, warm, smooth, affectionate, but not addressed to Claressa. It had the same tone he used publicly to hype her, the same emotional cadence he used in interviews where he praised loyalty, the same supportive rhythm he used when he called her a queen. Except this message wasn't for his queen, it was for someone else. Someone whose screenshot of the conversation appeared milliseconds later like a knife twisting in real time, and the caption attached to it. Funny how we all hear the same lines. That single sentence nearly broke the internet, because it meant she wasn't alone, she wasn't his only, she wasn't even the one receiving unique affection. She was receiving recycled affection, repackaged loyalty, and generic reassurance. The same words, the same promises, the same tone, different women. The scandal wasn't just betrayal, it was choreography. Then the DMS poured in from everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, X, even Facebook groups so small they shouldn't have mattered, but did because every woman claimed the same thing. He said this to me too. He told me I was special. He told me he was done with his past. He said I was the only one who understood him. He said he wanted a future with me too. And with each new voice came the same sinking feeling. They weren't lying for attention. They weren't faking screenshots. They weren't creating drama. They were all describing the same script, a script he had allegedly perfected, a script he had allegedly used on all 5 women in this so-called system. And in the center of that storm was Claressa. Imagine defending someone publicly while strangers online expose your private doubts before you even process them yourself. Imagine waking up to leaked timelines that overlap perfectly with moments you swore were meaningful, moments you cherished, moments you believed were real. Imagine seeing messages he sent you, copied, and pasted to someone else. That's the kind of heartbreak that doesn't hit your chest, it hits your identity. But then came the twist that took this from scandal to something darker. A new leak surfaced, not emotional, not romantic, financial. Someone posted a blurry PDF, allegedly connected to payments, gifts, and expenses that didn't add up. Fans started circling numbers, comparing dates, asking questions no one was ready for. Why is her money showing up here? Why does it look like she funded things he was giving other women? Is this why he stayed close to her? Was this loyalty or leverage? No one knew if the document was real. But the timing was perfect, too perfect. Because right when people were trying to accuse Claressa of being dramatic, the leak shifted the narrative. This wasn't just about love, this might have been about use. That's when Charleston White jumped into the story. He went live, loud, unapologetic, chaotic, and said something that detonated across the internet. I heard he was living off her. Allegedly, I heard she was paying for everything. Boom. Instant firestorm. Comments exploded. She's the champ, of course she had money. But why would he need hers? Was he helping her or draining her? This is beyond relationship drama. Blogs picked it up within minutes. Reaction channels created thumbnails of Claressa crying, even though she never cried publicly. Twitter threads went viral. What if she wasn't the girlfriend, but the resource? No one wanted to say it out loud, but the implication was clear. She was the visible woman because she was the valuable woman. Then the turning point came. A friend of Claressa, someone who rarely speaks publicly, posted a cryptic message on Instagram. Sometimes the truth sits in your phone for months. You just don't want to open it. Fans lost their minds. News outlets started calling it the quiet confirmation. Tasha K stitched the story into her next segment without even blinking. And for the first time, the world realized this wasn't a messy relationship. This was a pattern, a system, a fully constructed emotional machine powered by one man and maintained by multiple women who didn't know they were sharing roles. And the most heartbreaking twist, Claressa wasn't the final woman. She was the last to know. This is where the story turns, not because the leaks stop, but because the emotional consequences begin. Because the next reveal wasn't about messages, wasn't about money, wasn't about timelines, it was about Christmas, the day that changed everything, the day she waited, the day she dressed up. The day she told herself this will fix everything, and the day she was abandoned without explanation. But the explanation did exist, it just wasn't meant for her to hear. Asan, when you hear what really went down on Christmas, you'll understand why she collapsed internally, not in public, but in silence. The world thought the Christmas story was already bad. They thought Claressa spending the holiday alone, wandering a Louis Vuitton store, dropping $30,000 out of heartbreak, was the lowest point of the entire saga. But what no one knew, Asan, was that Christmas wasn't the collapse, it was the reveal. Because only after the leaks surfaced did people start connecting dots, rewatching old clips, analyzing posts, and piecing together the timeline in a way Claressa herself hadn't dared to do. What they uncovered wasn't coincidence, it was orchestration. It all began with a simple line Tasha K dropped casually, almost like she knew the internet wasn't ready. Claressa wasn't alone on Christmas because of work. She wasn't alone because she misunderstood. She was alone because someone else already had the day. That sentence turned the internet upside down. Suddenly, people went digging into Remy Ma's Christmas posts. Fans pulled screenshots, timestamps, matching outfits, background details. The internet became a crime scene investigation team overnight, and then it hit them. Papoose wasn't missing. He wasn't traveling. He wasn't sick. He wasn't overwhelmed. He was with his family, smiling, eating, laughing, opening gifts, in photos that looked painfully warm, while Claressa sat alone in a luxury store trying to convince herself she mattered. That was the moment fans realized something darker. Claressa wasn't busy. She wasn't waiting. She wasn't in the plan. She was on standby. Someone online commented the sentence that broke millions. She wasn't the main woman, she was the waiting woman. Those 6 words sent a shock through social media. And then boom, the next bomb dropped. A Twitter user posted a supposed DM from someone in Papoose's circle saying, "He never said he was spending Christmas with her, she assumed." The internet exploded. She assumed. What kind of relationship even is that? Why would she think he'd be there unless he told her something? He let her build expectations he knew he would break. Fan pages turned into war zones. People started arguing she was manipulated. She should have known better. Why didn't he correct her? He kept her there for a reason. It only got worse when screenshots surfaced of Claressa excitedly talking about holiday plans weeks before Christmas, while Papoose was allegedly telling another woman. Just chill, December's gonna be smooth. Smooth for who? Certainly not Claressa. But the darkest detail wasn't the Christmas reveal itself, it was what Tasha K claimed next. She said Claressa learned the truth twice, first from silence, then from receipts because there was a phone call, a call Claressa made on Christmas evening, a call that went unanswered, a call that sent her spiraling, and then hours later a message popped up from him, family all over the place. We'll talk later, not I'm sorry, not I miss you, not give me a minute, just later, and later never came. Every woman watching felt the weight of that message. Every man watching felt the pressure to defend or excuse it. Every gossip page watching felt the content opportunity. It was perfect, tragic, viral fuel, but the internet wasn't done dissecting. A new angle popped up after Christmas, the money. Remember when Claressa bought that bag and acted like it was a gift from him? Fans pulled up the clip, froze it, zoomed in. That's her card, she bought it herself. But why lie? Did he ask her to pretend? Was she trying to make him look good publicly? That became the new debate. Was Claressa protecting him or protecting herself from the truth? But then came the escalation, the moment this situation moved from personal betrayal to public humiliation. A YouTuber dropped a video claiming Papoose wasn't cheating, he was delegating. As if relationships were a business, as if women were employees. The comments went insane. He had 5 departments. He assigned roles. This man ran a whole shadow relationship corporation. People laughed at the joke, but the underlying meaning wasn't funny. He allegedly divided emotional labor across multiple women while letting Claressa take the public role because she had the fame, the spotlight, the prestige. But the biggest reveal, the one that turned the entire situation into a moral dilemma, came when a so-called insider leaked a voice note where a woman claimed, "He told me he loved me too, but just not to say anything. He said he wasn't ready to make changes yet." Those words hit like a bomb, not because they confirmed cheating, but because they revealed something worse, promises. Multiple, simultaneous, conflicting, heart-shattering, rehearsed, and Claressa, she had no idea her name was being spoken in conversations designed to keep other women quiet. It was manipulation disguised as affection. Commitment disguised as comfort, control disguised as chaos. Then came the public reaction. Instagram lives, TikTok edits, reaction channels flooding thumbnails with red circles, arrows, crying emojis. Even celebrities started chiming in. One tweeted, "Never trust a man who stays silent when a woman is hurting." Another wrote, "If 5 women is true, she needs to run." And then Remind liked a post, a simple like. One tap, but the internet treated it like a confession. People went wild. She knows something. She's confirming it. She's being messy on purpose. No, she's just tired of the drama. She's throwing shade. Claressa saw all of it. Every trend, every meme, every theory, every comment comparing her to other women in the system. And then, according to insiders, she finally broke down, not publicly, not loudly, not with tears streaming down her face on video, but sitting on the floor, phone in her hand, scrolling the same posts everyone else saw, realizing the world knew pieces of her truth before she ever had the full story herself. That was the collapse, not of her career, not of her reputation, but of her certainty. Because once the internet starts confirming your worst fears, your heart does the rest of the damage on its own. But Asan, this wasn't the final twist, not even close. Because what came next wasn't from Tasha K, wasn't from a woman in the alleged system, wasn't from a fan or a troll. The next reveal came from HIM, and it wasn't what anyone expected. Everyone expected Papoose to stay silent forever. That was his pattern. Silence instead of denial, avoidance instead of explanation, distance disguised as maturity. It worked for years until now. Because suddenly, without warning, without buildup, without even a teaser or a cryptic emoji, he reacted. Not through an interview, not through a long statement, not through a tweet. It was a tiny, almost insignificant move that would have gone unnoticed in any other situation. But not now, not in the middle of the biggest relationship scandal of his career. He deleted one post, just one. An old picture, one that featured him smiling beside Claressa, his arm around her shoulder, both of them looking like the world made sense. Gone, no explanation, no caption, no clarification, but the timing. Oh, the timing spoke louder than any words ever could. Within minutes, screenshots flooded Twitter. Why would he delete this picture? Is this confirmation? Bro, this man's guilt is screaming through his pixels. Deleting without speaking equals admission. Then somebody noticed something even crazier. He didn't just delete her picture. He archived 3 others from around the same time period. Posts from the months Tasha K claimed he was managing multiple emotional lanes. Coincidence or cleanup? The internet chose the latter. Fans went wild. He's erasing the timeline, OMG. He's trying to fix inconsistencies before more receipts drop. This is damage control. He knows she saw the Christmas proof, but the real shock came when people checked Remind page. Her posts were untouched, still up, still smiling, still family, still history, still present. And that is when the internet realized the story was far from over, because it wasn't Claressa he reacted to, it wasn't the allegations. It wasn't the exposure, he reacted to pressure, he reacted to being cornered. He reacted because, for the first time, the narrative was slipping out of his hands and into Claressa's. Then came the unexpected twist, a twist so quiet, but so violent in meaning that fans lost their minds. A fan tweeted at Claressa, "You didn't deserve this, you gave your heart to someone who treated it like an option." And Claressa, the GWOAT, the undefeated wall of confidence, liked the tweet, just one like, one silent acknowledgement, but that was enough. Because Claressa never liked tweets about rumors, never engaged in drama, never responded to shade, never validated speculation. Until now, fans exploded. She's confirming it. She's hurt for real. This is her speaking without speaking. She's done with him. Oh my God, she actually liked that tweet. Then the next wave hit. A video surfaced, a behind-the-scenes clip from a photo shoot, showing Claressa on set trying to smile, but her eyes looked heavy. Her body looked tired. Her aura looked cracked. Someone in the background whispered, "You okay?" And she replied, "I'm just processing everything." The internet froze, not because of the clip itself, but because she didn't deny anything. Processing everything. Not rumors, not lies, not misunderstandings, everything. Then the biggest twist of all arrived, not from Claressa, not from fans, not from bloggers, but from someone no one expected. A woman claiming to be the future option. She didn't drop screenshots, she didn't expose messages. She didn't show voice notes, she said one sentence, and that sentence detonated across every platform. "He told me he was leaving her after Christmas." Her, which her, Ramai, Claressa, someone else she didn't clarify. Which made everything worse, because now the question wasn't, did he cheat? The question wasn't, was it 5 women? The question wasn't, was Christmas a lie? The new question, the one that turned the entire narrative inside out, was, who did he promise a future to, and who did he plan to leave? Because if he told the future option he was leaving her, that meant he wasn't loyal to Claressa, he wasn't loyal to Ramai, he wasn't loyal to any of the 5. He was loyal to the system, a system of options, a system of roles, a system of emotional insurance, a system where no woman ever got the entire truth, not even the wife, not even the visible girlfriend, not even the hidden ones. And now the system was falling apart, publicly, rapidly, messily. But here's the real cliffhanger. Tasha K posted a cryptic message on her community tab. "I'm not done, part 4 drops soon." And trust me, you aren't ready. That one teaser sent panic through every corner of the internet. Because if part 3 exposed the emotional system, and part 2 exposed the timelines, and part 1 exposed the double life, then what is left? What could part 4 possibly reveal, and who is going to be destroyed by it? Claressa hasn't spoken. Papoose hasn't denied. Ramai hasn't clarified. The women haven't disappeared. Silence is no longer strategy, it's the sound of a bomb counting down. And when part 4 drops, someone's reality will be rewritten permanently. But the biggest question remains, will Claressa finally speak? Or will she choose silence one last time to protect something the world hasn't even seen yet? The answer is coming, just not yet. And now, the only question that matters is the one the entire internet is asking, but no one can answer. What happens next? Because at this point, we're not dealing with rumors. We're not dealing with assumptions. We're not even dealing with messy screenshots or half-truths leaked at the wrong time. We are dealing with a system unraveling in front of millions of people, piece by painful piece, and the silence from everyone involved is starting to feel less like privacy and more like preparation. Preparation for what? A statement, a reconciliation, a confession, a legal move, a new exposé, another woman stepping forward. A part 4 drop that flips the entire narrative upside down. Nobody knows, but one thing is guaranteed. This story is far from over. And you, the viewers, the detectives, the fans, the ones connecting dots faster than the people actually involved, you're part of this timeline now. So here's what I want from you. Fire, drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you believe Claressa was truly blindsided? Was Papoose running a system? Who was the future option really referring to? And what do you think Tasha K is saving for part 4? Fire, tell me, if you were in Claressa's position, would you stay silent or go public? Fire, and most importantly, who do you think is the real victim in this chaos? Your comments don't just help the channel, they shape the next chapter of this story. We read everything, we analyze everything, and the theories that stand out, they just might appear in the next video. If you've been locked in from the beginning to this very moment, don't let this be the end of your journey with us. Hit that like button so more people see what's really going on behind the scenes. Smash that subscribe because this saga is evolving faster than anyone expected, and trust me, you do not want to miss the next twist that drops. Turn on notifications because when the next leak hits, when the next insider speaks, when the truth finally stops hiding, we will be the first to break it down. This isn't just a story. This is a collapse, a reconstruction, a reckoning, and the next chapter, it's coming sooner than anyone thinks. Stay tuned, stay alert, and until the next explosion, I'll see you in the next video.